There is a key motivational principle hidden in one of the great American classics, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. My name is Kirk Double K Barbera, and this is your business book tip of the day. In the book Drive by Daniel H. Pink, he talks about the surprising truth about what motivates us. And I'll go into this with some more business book tips of the day as we go. Today, I wanted to do two quick things. First, I wanted to point out that the story of Tom Sawyer whitewashing that fence and convincing his friends to do it for him has a lot of implications about it, and it's so popular, it's talked about in multiple books. That book, Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain, has a lot of influence because it's so well in American culture, because it's so well written, and because there's important stuff in there. And great writers like Daniel Pink, and I did another note card business book tip of the day earlier, so if you go back on Facebook on Real Elite and check it out, for 0 to 1, where Peter Thiel, the founder of PayPal and the first outside investor for Facebook and various other ventures, he talks about that in his book 0 to 1, about the whitewashing wall. So I wanted to go a little bit deeper because I had brought up in that note card about sales being hidden and how Tom Sawyer kind of bamboozled his friends. Now, Daniel Pink talks about it a little bit differently, and I'm actually going to read you a quick passage from this. And this is partially from the book Adventures of Tom Sawyer. It's a quote, and it's also some of Daniel Pink's own conclusions on this important section. So bear with me on this. I hope you'll enjoy this little reading. One of the most enduring scenes in American literature offers an important lesson in human motivation. In Chapter 2 of Mark Twain's The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, Tom faces the dreary task of whitewashing Aunt Polly's 810 square foot fence. He's not exactly thrilled with the assignment. Life to him seemed hollow and existence but a burden, Twain writes. But just when Tom has nearly lost hope, nothing less than a great, magnificent inspiration bursts upon him. When his friend Ben ambles by and mocks Tom for his sorry lot, Tom acts confused. Slapping paint on a fence isn't a grim chore. He says it's a fantastic privilege, a source of intrinsic motivation. The job is so captivating that when Ben asks to try a few brushstrokes himself, Tom refuses. He doesn't relent until Ben gives up his apple in exchange for the opportunity. Soon more boys arrive, all of whom tumble into Tom's trap and end up whitewashing the fence several times over on his behalf. From this episode, Twain extracts a key motivational principle, namely that work consists of whatever a body is obliged to do, and that play consists of whatever a body is not obliged to do. Twain goes on to write, "There are wealthy gentlemen in England who drive 4-horse passenger coaches 20 or 30 miles on a daily line in the summer because the privilege costs them considerable money. But if they were offered wages for the service, that would turn it into work and then they would resign." In other words, rewards can perform a weird sort of behavioral alchemy. They can transform an interesting task into a drudge. They can turn play into work. And by diminishing intrinsic motivation, they can send performance, creativity, and even upstanding behavior toppling like dominoes. Let's call this the Sawyer effect. A sampling of intriguing experiments around the world, it reveals the 4 realms where this effect kicks in. So in the book, he goes way into detail on the Sawyer effect. The key that you really need to understand for right now and how you can use this for yourself is you have to understand that in general, there are certain caveats and certain times when this is not the case. But in general, when you pay someone to do something, when you tell them they need to do something, when you make your kid give her rewards to do math homework, that is the best way to make them hate the drudgery of math. That is the biggest way to get your child to hate math or science or English, is to give them a reward for an A, or to give them a reward for for doing the work. The trick is to find ways, like Tom Sawyer did, to make them want to do it. So what Tom Sawyer did was he activated their desire by pretending he was having a great time doing it. So if you want your kid to read, guess what? You're gonna have to read a lot, and you're gonna have to enjoy it too, a lot. If you don't, your kid may or may not read. So that's very important, is if you want your kid to do something, you have to do it and show them that it's fun before you say, here's $5 for, go do your homework. Here's, I'll go buy you ice cream, go do your homework. Because that activates the work internal mechanism inside somebody. The same applies to your salespeople, to your staff, whoever it is. If you want to only do external rewards for higher achievements, that is the key way to make them hate what they do eventually. Now, again, there are some caveats, but in general, that is the case. And that's the case that they found, especially for creative work. So if you want someone to do something, come up with a creative solution, this is the worst thing that you could possibly do for them. So when you go out and you're making, convincing people to go work for you, to go do things for you, or to, sell more of your product, try to think of unique creative ways to get them to intrinsically want to do it themselves, rather than giving them an external reward to do work that they should want to do on their own. My name is Kirk K. Barbera. This is your business book tip of the day. And remember, books and reading is not a passive sport. It's an active sport. So go out there and read some books.